new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
When opportunity knocks, you don't want to miss the call. Hamilton Business Technologies makes communication easy and efficient using customized technology, all while putting people first. Whether you're working from the office, at home, or on the go, Hamilton Business Technologies equips your business with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop. Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
MHC isn't new, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can also handle your commercial moves as well. There's never fees on trucks, stairs, elevators, long carry, and last-minute booking, and no trip or fuel charges. Also, no upcharge on weekends, and they do offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service, bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into Ticket Weeknights. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos, as always, joined to my left. I got Tristan Gomes in studio with me. And then later today, I will have Rudy joining me for the next hour. And then Jeffrey Calhoun staying a little bit later. He'll be joining me as well. We're going to talk a lot. We'll go across football, basketball. Jeffrey will come in here. We'll talk some WNBA as well. But with that out of the way, first things first, Tristan, how's it going on a Monday? And I don't know if I'm excited. It's starting to cool down a little bit, but that's way too early for it to have some 70-degree days here.
Yeah, doing really well. I was thinking the same thing. The weather the past few days has been pretty nice, but you always have to think we're going to get one of those day games in Memorial Stadium where it's just scorching hot.
Yep.
So I don't think the summer weather is over yet, but it's nice to have these few days.
Yeah, and also to be fair to the guys, especially week 2 in fall camp, like tough start. We talked about that last week. Like,
yeah,
you don't want to start your fall camp with 100-degree days. So, give them some 70-degree days. As you mentioned, we'll be climbing back up there in the hundreds before you know it, and we'll sneak in there a late, warm, hot game at Memorial Stadium. With that being said, though, I'll ask you this. Did you go to anything over the weekend, like Husker Fan Day, or check out the scrimmages?
No, I was here, but read a little bit about it. One thing I did hear that was nice for the people that were there to see was just everyone was flying around. It seemed like between drills, there was just a sense of urgency, which you love to hear. And especially after I know Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State was saying how his guys at Arizona State during practice weren't excited when they made the big plays, when they, had the touchdowns, interceptions, nothing like that. I guess at Memorial this weekend, Nebraska was fired up. Anytime they had a big play, defense made a good play, everyone was excited for whoever made the play. So that's what you want to hear, and I'm happy to hear it.
I was just happy to see them actually hitting. And like some of the stuff I saw, I was talking about this on DP on Sunday. A little surprised by the turnout. Turnout was not very big, and I don't know how big the numbers, but I could have sworn I thought I heard somebody expecting like 10,000 people in there, and I don't know if like there wasn't as big as a crowd is because we've kind of gotten used to what the Husker games was, where it's like, well, I don't really want to go because I'm going to show up. And I think last year they even canceled the practice early and they told people to get out. That was a little bit different. That was like a family only, and they told those guys that wasn't open to the entire fan base. So I think a lot of people just weren't sure what they were going to get. But from what I saw, like, yeah, they were hitting. They were playing full. I think they even did some live scrimmages as well. So you got the full thing. For everybody out there, shout out if you went. If you got any cool stories or anything you want to talk about from that, 402-464-5685. But we're not going to talk Husker football the entire time. We're going to talk some Husker basketball because I don't think I've talked to you at all about Husker basketball yet. And I'm a diehard Husker basketball fan. It was brutal being in Northeast Nebraska behind the blue wall that is Creighton. Where does your fan base lie? Because you're a Lincoln kid. I'd imagine it's Husker basketball, right?
Yeah, from Omaha originally, but I'm not a fan of Creighton whatsoever.
That's right. I always loop you into Lincoln kid.
Yeah.
But you are an Omaha kid, but you chose the right side.
Yeah, no, not a fan of Creighton basketball whatsoever. My family, I feel like, just has a deep hatred for Creighton, and both my parents went to Nebraska. Both were athletes here, and so I'm a Husker basketball ride or die.
Okay, where do you sit on like J-Skers?
Not a fan whatsoever. I think that's just the worst part is like we all have those friends who it's like, hey, let's go to let's go to Memorial for the football game this weekend. Everyone's really excited, and then basketball season, it's like, hey, let's go to PBA, and they're like, oh, I can't. I'm going to the Creighton game, and it's like, no, you're not. I'm not a fan, especially if Nebraska basketball can turn around. I hope to see way less J-Skers.
Yeah, I'm always surprised. Like, we got to turn around because, it's a little bit of our own fault. We weren't really doing well fighting the territory. The recruiting grounds for the J-Skers or for the Creighton Blue Jay fans was really high through the Doug McDermott era, and then the head coach McDermott as well. And they were I think they finally just lost Kalkbrenner. I know he got drafted as well. So we don't have to see the Big East Defender of the Year. I don't know if he won it last year, but he certainly won it 2 years ago, and he was just a thorn. But hopefully we can catch that one back. Final thing, side tangent that I got for you, because again, I'm just thinking about some of the conversations I had on Sunday, and Creighton kind of reminds me of it. Is like, where's your pettiness level at with certain teams? Like, is there a jersey that even if it was like your best friend got drafted and he got his jersey and it's got his last name on it, you're like, sorry, man, like I'll take it. I'll maybe put it in my closet, but it's not going to be on display and I'm not going to wear it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you would. Maybe you're just like, I'm a grown man. It's not that big of a deal. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
No, I would never wear anything Creighton, if I'll be honest. So it doesn't matter there. Yeah, like my best friend from high school would go to Creighton for baseball, basketball, either one. I'd be like, hey man, hope you do well. Not really. I hope you do well personally. Hope you lose though. I think that's kind of my thought. So Creighton's one of them. Very similar. I'm not a Buckeyes fan, not a huge fan of Ohio State. So anything Ohio State, get it away from me.
Where's the Ohio State hate come from?
Just being an Oregon fan, and then when Nebraska came into the Big Ten, I was like, all right, this gives me even another reason not to like Ohio State.
It's actually like the one Big Ten team I have zero beef with.
Yeah, they're like I feel like I have respect for them.
Yeah,
but it's just like I hate to see them so successful.
It's kind of like what the Patriots and Tom Brady.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, people beating you all the time is a problem. Luckily for, not luckily, I should say, for Nebraska, like we never got to the Big Ten championship game and they were over on the East. So before the divisions even when the division ceased to exist, obviously it's all a little bit different now, but we weren't really playing them at all. And we weren't playing good enough to meet them in the Big Ten championship game as well. So it's like, you're just watching across the road, like, thank God we don't got to play those guys because we're struggling versus Rutgers right now. But yeah, what about the example I gave right away that was a no-brainer was a Packers jersey. If you got a Bears jersey, I mean, how your best buddy gets drafted to the Bears, is your NFL's the same thing? You're not touching it?
I think I'm a Packers fan, but also like if I think the NFL is a little bit different where like if I have someone I know who's playing in the NFL, I'm going to support them. Like that's pretty cool. I mean, I have my good friend Max Anderson who's in the Tigers organization. I really don't like the Yankees. Like if he went to the Yankees or got traded, like I don't know how I would feel about it. Like I'd be like, same thing. I hope you lose every single game, but I hope you hit 3 home runs in the process. So that's where I'm at.
You're wishing for him a Laurie Marketing career. Like, hey,
exactly.
I hope you make $50 million a year, but I hope you never touch the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the kind of course career. Yeah, I don't know if my pettiness is like too high then, because I was thinking like worst case scenario, like if I got to really support him, like do the classic, like I'll just write it, Sharpie on a white T-shirt, the number in the name, but I'm not gonna ever put on a Packers jersey.
Yeah.
That was the last side tangent I got out of just curiosity since we got in the J-Skers and the Creighton Blue Jays. Let's talk Husker hoops now. First things first, just what is the goal for Nebraska basketball? Like how many wins in your mind? The golden number seems to be 20. If you win 20 in the Big Ten, you're most likely, unless you have just like no quad 1 wins or quad 2 wins, you're probably going to go ahead and make it to the March Madness, especially if they branch that thing out to, I think they're saying like 68, 72, which is insanity to me. But what is the win number? About 20 locks you into March Madness usually.
I'm going to go with, I think, even a little over 20. I think last year we saw such an inconsistent Nebraska ball squad where it was we'll go on a 5-game win streak. We'll have a quad 1 win, and then we'll have a 5-game lose streak where we have 2 quad 3 losses. And so I think if they put together just a season where it is a little bit more consistent, they can lose 2 in a row, but after that, you draw the line, you get back on track. So I think 23 is kind of a good number. And I was speaking with Austin about this a little bit too, is Nebraska just hasn't solidified themselves as a university that really takes pride in their basketball. I mean, you look at even Iowa, who's had a decent amount of success, Creighton, obviously, is they really care about their basketball. And they almost just will their way to those wins because the fan base is backing them. They go on the road. They still got a lot of support. But I think 23 wins is a good number.
I like that. 23, anything over 20 for me. Like 23 is great. 22, 21, 20, make the damn tournament. Like that's the thing for me is we just have to make the tournament. Nebraska basketball's, I shouldn't say at a point. I mean, it's just been at this point forever. It's like nobody really respects you still. Until you can start making the tournament consistently, it's hard to recruit guys that are, you made it once. I shouldn't say you made it once. You made it a few times. Don't get me wrong, but you haven't won a game yet. Our last one 2 years ago, we got trounced by, it was a good Texas A&M team. Like, I don't want to like say we were terrible. Keisei Tominaga lit it up right away, but Texas A&M just had one of those games where they were on fire. And for a team that likes to drive as much as they do, they were also shooting something ridiculous, like 40+%. Yeah, beyond the arc. And it's just, you get a team that's not part of their resume whatsoever, and then you show up scouting them and they're just doing the complete opposite of what you scouted them for. Nightmare situation. But yeah, I think that has been the problem for Nebraska basketball is like, what is the identity? Like if you're going to go play for Nebraska basketball and somebody asks why, I think right now the best strength we have is Fred Hoiberg. I think he still has that respect. So I think until you get the Bryce McGowans of the world to stick around, because it's like Fred Hoiberg's a really great offensive mind. Even if you don't get to 20, where would you be at for Fred Hoiberg in his job for head coach? Say 18 wins. We left out of the tournament again.
Yeah. Here's the thing is I just don't think being left out of the tournament again is acceptable for Fred Hoiberg. I mean, especially when we brought him in and the goal was, we want you to turn this around. We want you to almost not turn us into, a basketball school, but we want to be a respected basketball program. And so far, I think in the Big Ten, you'll see that a little bit. Teams will come to PBA and they'll be like, all right, we got to play today. This isn't a place we just walk into and win. But when Nebraska has gone on the road, they've really struggled. So I think maybe it's not a number. I mean, it's always a number of wins, but also I think you just want to see little changes that show that Fred Hoiberg is making an impact. So like maybe it is less bad losses, less quad 3 losses, and then maybe a few more wins on the road. I think those are just a few things that if we can see those changes, he's good. If we don't, and it maybe even gets worse, then I think that's when you worry a little bit.
Yeah, he's got to protect home court a little bit better. I remember, the last game I went to last year was Minnesota at home, and it's like it was one of those games where Nebraska had like a 7-minute drought, it felt like, and as Bryce McGowans was kind of the only offense for the first half. I think, I'm blanking on his name right now. He looks like a Brooke Lopez brother. You know what I'm thinking of? One of the big centers.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about. That's going to frustrate me.
Yeah, it wasn't Burke, but you can tell. It looks like a Lopez brother. Oh, but Becca Alec's brother. I can name of every detail about this guy.
Yeah.
Except for he was a phenomenal.
Oh, Josiah.
Thank you. Josiah Alec. I cannot think of Josiah Alec. Josiah Alec, obviously that was that Minnesota game where I think he even started like 0 for 4 on the free throw line. Like the first 2 drives where, he gets fouled and he goes 0 for 4 and just tough offense, lots of droughts. And he's done a really good job making this team much better on defense. But at the same time, it almost felt like we lost a little bit on offense. And that is like the whole thing of Fred Hoiberg. So my biggest thing for him is like, you want to see that offense come alive. And because all his greatest accolades, I think everyone credits his basketball mind and his offenses. He's just got to find a way to tap into a much more consistent offense. And I think last year was tough because without Rink Mass being there, the team really didn't have an identity. This year with Rink Mass being back, you get Kendall Blue, Berkay Beruktengel's back. Obviously, you lose Juwan Bryce Gowans, Cale Jacobson lit up in the college basketball crown. I know I'm probably forgetting a few others. Is there any players that, Leo Curtis at Iceland, I told you that the 7-footer from Iceland with a strange jumper, but can knock it down at a pretty good rate. Any players that really stick out to you that you think can, I don't want to say, we'll talk a lot more about him later in the season than we are right now.
I think Connor Essegian is going to be someone who I think is going to make a way bigger impact than he did this past season. I mean, we saw a few games where he got extremely hot and he just couldn't miss. And we expected that, I think, almost every game out of him. And then there were a few times where maybe the defense slipped or he wasn't knocking down those threes. So we didn't, really know what to expect. But I think he's a guy that throughout his college career, even when he was at Wisconsin, has got progressively better. And I think he's going to be ready to make a way bigger impact than just a guy that can knock down some threes. I think we'll see him maybe have the ball in his hands and drive a little bit more or, make some shots for himself. So I'm excited to see him. And then I'm excited to see Rink back. That'll be super great to have just another kind of physical body. Because I think of, like you said, the defense is kind of maybe took a toll when the offense was well, the defense took. So it was like kind of just a bad mix. And I think Rink brings the value that he brings on offense where he can be a matchup nightmare, but also on defense, he can hold his own.
He's also got a little bit of that Jokic effect. Now, obviously, take it with a grain of salt. I don't think he's going to be the next Jokic, but I mean, he can shoot it. He likes to play at that high post a lot. He's good enough to, again, you got to think like he's the one that right out of the gate when Nebraska took down #1 Purdue at home, like that was Zach Edey going to the woodshed versus, Zach Edey, who was, I think he won Player of the Year twice in a row. I mean, the dude just a dominant freak basketball player, and I'm not surprised at all that he's off to a nice little start over with the Memphis Grizzlies. But Rink Mass, you can make a serious argument that he was the best player on that team the year that he got hurt, but he wasn't out for the season. I think it was after that Kansas State game. You started to see him where the calf sleeve and hurt a little bit about it. But, I mean, seriously, could Rink Mass be the best player on this team? Because I think he legitimately probably was a couple of years back.
Yeah, I don't know about the best. I don't know if when we see the best performances, it's going to be him, but I think he's going to be the most consistent for sure. Because he's a guy that you don't, worry about on defense. Zach Edey, he's guarding Zach Edey, who's probably 5-6 inches taller than him.
Yeah, at least.
And they double teamed him quite a bit, but he held his own for quite a while. And then also was knocking down threes on the other end, playing good offense. So consistency, we're going to see him on both ends doing extremely well and bringing value. So I could see him being the guy that just leads this team almost as like a role player that can get you a bucket whenever you need it.
That's kind of what he was. Like he's the most non-flashy, and that's why I think he was the best player, because nothing he said was untrue. I guess it really just depends how you grade the best player, but super consistent. He's going to share the ball. He's going to pass it to the guy who's open, and if he's feeling it, he might drop 30+ points. Because I think he did have a game where he had 32, maybe even 34 points, and then he had plenty of 20+ point games. So he can definitely put it in the hoop if he needs to. And then again, I'm just a big fan of any centers, forwards like that can shoot the ball that well. Because you just go to a lot, especially when you're playing in the Big Ten. We saw it versus Creighton with Rink Mass. It's like, Kalkbrenner, let's pull you away from the rim. You're a nightmare to deal with. Same thing with Zach Edey. Let's pull you out because you got to respect him. You can't just leave him hanging out there. So I'm super excited. I think the bar for me, it's got to be 20 plus wins, like you said, all the way at the very beginning. Like this team is, I'm not going to sit here and say it's the most talented team in the Big Ten, but it's got more than enough talent. And I do think Fred Hoiberg's a great coach. I think Lenzer's a great defensive mind as well, helping out with that squad. So I'm basically, the point is there's not a lot of excuses. Give me one excuse maybe why things go south. And you can throw a crazy one out there if we're trying to make, some way too early excuses for disappointing basketball season. Like, where could it go south?
Honestly, I think my one excuse is the preparation. That I think some games, it seems like the coaching staff, you would have thought they may not have practiced the week before. I think that is the only excuse for this talented of a team to not be winning ball games, is they're not as prepared as they should be, especially when they go on the road. Maybe they have 2 road games in a row. I think that's the only excuse, is they weren't prepared enough in practice for those talented guys to succeed. But if they are prepared, they have the talent to win a lot of games in this Big Ten.
Yeah, they better be, because I'll never forget. It's like, you don't want your head coach like punching lockers at half, or I think it was the whiteboard or whatever. Then he has to get it all taped up and everything. Clearly, you hit it pretty hard. Like, you have that energy heading into the game. The coach shouldn't have to do that, and that's where it's like we can point fingers. Is that the coach's fault that he had to inspire them like that in the middle of the game, or is that the players just like, for whatever reason, they didn't bring the energy? And sometimes as a coach, that's going to happen. But when it's a consistent thing, that's again where it's like I really like Fred Hoiberg as a head coach. I think it's just a brutally tough thing here to do at Nebraska. So I've always had a tough time grading that spot, even with Tim Miles. I think Tim Miles and Hoiberg are in somewhat similar territory. But if you just look at like the most wins in a stretch period, like Fred Hoiberg's done pretty much better than everybody else. So like I think I'm more on the boat of like, we have to give this more time, because 2 years in a row, 20 plus wins. I know this because of the college basketball crown, but they found something. They didn't have to go win that college basketball crown, but they found a way to get it done. And who knows if the basketball crown's even back next year. We might be the only ever crown champion, which is crazy as well. With that being said, we got to throw it to break. We do got plenty of audio quotes from the head coach himself, Fred Hoiberg. We'll play some of those guys for you later. Again, he talks about a lot of the new players. You mentioned it, Connor Essegian. What does that pairing look like with the Iowa transfer and Samford? You got another really good 3-point shooter there. So we'll throw it to break, talk about all that next, right here, 93.7 The Ticket. Harrison Arens, Tristan Gomes.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports, or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Make bill paying a breeze with Text to Pay. LES texts you 1 week before your bill's due date. Just reply to the text to pay. It's that easy. Log into your account at les.com to sign up today.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
When opportunity knocks, you don't want to miss the call. Hamilton Business Technologies makes communication easy and efficient using customized technology, all while putting people first. Whether you're working from the office, at home, or on the go, Hamilton Business Technologies equips your business with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop. Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
MHC isn't new, just a new name. Mo's Moving is now Mo's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartments, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can also handle your commercial moves as well. There's never fees on trucks, stairs, elevators, long carry, and last-minute booking, and no trip or fuel charges. Also, no upcharge on weekends, and they do offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition. Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Harrison Arens on the ones and twos. We got Tristan Gomes, as always, joining me for Ticket Weeknights. You guys can join in 402-464-5685. We do got the Royals on the brick and mortar, and I should pull that score up really quick for you. They should have started still 0-0, bottom of the first inning. And again, they are facing the Boston Red Sox. So with that being said, as promised, we're going to talk some more Husker hoops here. Fred Hoiberg was at the podium. We got plenty of quotes for him. And let me give you some options here. Tristan, I'll ask you which one you want to hear about first. We can hear about Jamarcus Lawrence leadership. Again, he was here. He left. Did he go to Rice?
Yeah.
Yep, he went to Rice. And then now he's back with us. And then we also have the story of the Cale Jacobson confidence. Again, I think kind of highlighting what he did last year in the college basketball crown, and maybe it led into the summer. Which one you want to hear from first?
Yeah, let's hear about Cale Jacobson. He's a guy that I enjoy his defense and just the value he brings, and I'd like to hear what Fred has to say about his offseason.
Let's do it. Real quick, did you watch him in the playoffs?
I did, yeah.
Unreal.
It was unreal, especially because during the season when he came in, I'll be honest, there were times I'm like, oh, like what's his role right now? Like, what are you expecting from him? And then...
I was talking the, sorry, I should have specified the high school playoffs.
Oh, no.
Unreal. He was hitting buzzer beaters back there. I played for Ashland, and he was dropping. I think he might have had a 40-plus point game in there. And it was like that point on is like when he was on the roster, I was like, he's pretty good. Like, I know he can. Again, you're looking at it. It's Nebraska. The competition is as high, and you're looking. You see people like when they're hitting that cold of shots in those types of moments.
Yeah.
And then now we can talk about what you're looking at, because to me, that's what I felt like I was watching. I was like, this is high school Cale Jacobson.
Yeah. I mean, once before the crown and just in Big Ten play, he would go in and I was like, okay, like he's playing good defense. He's hustling. He's doing everything right. But you're just not seeing, kind of that scorer that
he was in high
school. And then the crown came along and I don't know what it was. Maybe Hoiberg was like, hey, get your confidence back. Like, go to work. What do you have to lose right now? And I think we saw that a lot more in the crown. And so I think he's a much bigger scoring threat. And then he also continues to have that defensive presence.
What led to him getting so much minutes? I'm trying to remember now. Do we have somebody like opt out? I don't think so.
I don't think so. No, I feel like it was the same roster that we had all season. I wonder if maybe Fred just thinking you'll be back for next season. Let's get you a little bit more time out there. Let's see what you can do. Maybe a few good practices leading up to the crown.
Could have been just looking for that more consistent offense too. I'm trying to remember what led up to it, but it could have just been a substitution too, where I think that's what it was. It was he came in the second half. It might have been that first game in the college basketball crown, and he just went off. Yeah. And they're like, hey, we should play this guy more. And then they kept putting him out there. And I don't think Fred was wrong for not playing him, but I think they realized right then and there, it's like his confidence it's like fully back, like he's playing like he did in high school. So I'm super optimistic on it. That's the full story on him. I know we talked about a while. Here's the actual quote. Cale Jacobson's confidence from Fred Hoiberg.
Yeah, I think a big thing is confidence, knowing that you can go out there and make a big impact. He was as important as anybody on the floor for us in that little run we made at the end of the season in the tournament, and he's carried that over into the summer. And Cale's the guy that's always going to get out there and work. You see him in the gym all the time. All our guys, we've got that little shooting system now, the Noah shooting system, and you can see who's in the gym getting shots up, and Cale's one of the top guys as far as a guy that's putting in extra work to really make that consistent. And he shot it well. When you look at what he did in the crown, knocking down shots at a high percentage, but timely shots. He made some huge ones for us in crunch time. So, he continues to make that consistent. He does so many other things out there for us, that he's going to definitely be a rotation player for us.
So there you have it. And again, talking about what that college basketball crown it did for him, talking about his shooting numbers. And I do want to pull up his percentage on the season. And then I also want to pull up Connor Season. I think, who would you say our best shooter was last year? Connor?
I would go with Connor.
Okay. So Connor shot.
Or Bryce. I mean,
Bryce. Yeah, definitely. You could make an argument for Bryce. Connor shot the ball really, really well. And I think for some reason, people like lost sight of that. Because he had some stretches where I think a lot of people are like, oh man, what's going on with Cale Jacobson? Like he finished the year shooting 40% from three. Like he just had a few games where he wasn't hitting all of them. So we're like, maybe and it happened late in the season too, where I think it made people upset. But like you look at the course of the year, again, he shot 40% from three, was averaging shooting 6 of them a game. So, he's taking plenty and he's making most. And then when you go over to Cale Jacobson, a little bit lower, but he was shooting the ball 35%, be generous, round up 36%. And especially down the stretch there, I think in that tournament, he was probably plus 40%. Like he's another guy, again, young guy, not super high, but you want to see that 36 upward. And then you add in Stanford. I mean, if those guys can all be flirting around upper 30s, 40s, fantastic. That becomes an incredibly lethal shooting lineup. Do you think our offense changes quite a bit to highlight those guys, or is it just going to be the rink masked offense again, where it's like rink masked sets everybody up from the elbow, maybe the top of the key, depending on the matchup, and like we're just going to kind of run the offense through masked like we did 2 years ago?
I think they have a great offensive just presence with a few different guys that they can complement, Cale, Asian, Samford, those guys that can shoot the ball. But we also have that presence where Rink can go inside, Bierke can go inside. And so they have multiple guys that can drive the paint, be a presence, and then kick it out to those guys. So I think this is maybe, I want to say a little bit last year they had it, but not a whole bunch of just a dominant in the paint presence. And now they do. But when you have those 3 guys that are on the outside that can also shoot the rock, they're going to be looking good. So I think you still kind of do that, give Rink the ball, almost let him dish it out and get it to who's open. But they have a better ability, I think, to get it to the outside while also having a presence. Because I think so many games, Nebraska was like just a one-sided offense. It was like we're either shooting the 3 well or we're able to drive it. There's not much of both.
Yeah, and that was where the whole Berke Bear Uchtengel and then Josiah Alec. Those two just really struggled through most of the season, and we I'm just being honest, like we were hard pressed to find any post offense. Like there just wasn't a lot coming from those two guys. And Rink Mast is different than them. Like he's not going to be battling as much. You might lose some on rebounds. So that's why I think like we'll probably run it through Rink Mast again. The biggest question is at that 5 position, how secure can we be there? Because again, that's where you bring in the Leo Curtis, who could be interesting. I should see if Hoiberg talked about him at all. I'm sure he did. But the 7-footer from Iceland, what do you think Nebraska's biggest weakness would be heading into this season with the roster that we know right now?
Like I said, there is a presence inside now with Rink and Birke. I mean, 2 bigger physical guys.
You trust Birke, Berjukten? He struggled a lot last year.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure where it came from because he might have been Oregon or maybe even his former teammate, UCLA.
Yeah.
He had a game where he played really well. And I thought he was going to turn it around, and then it went the opposite direction.
Yeah. I think it was just the consistency piece. I think there were some games where you saw him where he was just lights out from beyond the arc, and then he was also posting up guys. And so I think from the returners, we just want to see a little bit more consistency. And then also I feel like there has been a few games where the bigger, actual centers in the Big Ten have kind of just had their way with Nebraska. So I'm curious how physical Leo Curtis can be and what his presence can be as a 7-footer. Not going to say he's going to be Ryan Kalkbrenner, but if he can be a guy that's like in the paint and just disrupts, post guys as well as drivers.
Yeah.
I think
it's at least changing the angle.
Exactly.
Like I don't need to block, but make it just tougher or make it tough angles so your guy might have time to block it from the backside. And I think he can do that. Like he's got the long wingspan. Birke Berjukten, he's interesting a lot to me. I don't want to blame him entirely either because I think every guy kind of went through this last year. There were multiple moments where it felt like whether it was Hoiberg or it was Birke or it was Josiah Alec or pick one, they're like, our offense is struggling. I have to do something because right now we're all just like looking at each other trying to figure out who's going to score. And again, after Birke Berjukten, he had a pretty good game versus UCLA. At times he looks really fluid, but he lost the touch. But I feel like he was just trying to beat the offense that everyone was screaming for. And then he would try to take the shot and everyone was mad because it didn't go in. But who else was going to score? Seriously, at certain points of the season last year. And I think he kind of fell into that trap. So I am optimistic. The best part about his game to me is his defense.
Yeah. I agree with that. His defense, I feel like he almost fell into the Rink Mast rule.
Really did.
Of just being, I'm not going to be, 6'10", but I'm going to be a physical guy that can, kind of help around these centers or power forwards. So I think he did a good job of that. And I think there were quite a few games where maybe if Bryce wasn't on or Juwan wasn't on, they just like everyone else was trying to do something themselves. And I think that's when maybe the consistency ran away and, there wasn't as much confidence scoring because everyone was trying to do it on their own instead of running a, fast moving offense.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's where Fred Hoiberg made a mistake, thinking that I can use Birke the same way he used Rink Mast. Because you're right, he was playing a lot of that same, he was playing the exact same position Mast was, and he's just asked to do a lot, and he didn't always look super comfortable with it. And even at times, if you want to ease him into it, again, to bring it back full circle, it's like there's no time to ease him in. Like the offense, we've been in a drought for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like we got to figure out how to score right now. I'm super curious if he can have that turnaround. And my best hope for him is less pressure. We talked about the shooters. You bring in Samford, Connor Stejan, Marcus Lawrence. We didn't even talk about you bring in Kendall Blue as well. Like we got some pretty solid players coming into the fold. And if they can just be consistent, 5 points here, 8 points there, 10, 15, then Birke, who cares if he has 5 points, as long as he's got, 7, 8 rebounds and good defense. And then if he has a great game, which I think he can be lethal, and going back to UCLA, you feel good about letting him take more shots. But as long as he doesn't feel like he has to score 10, 15 points a game, otherwise this team's going to win. And again, that's the trap. It kind of felt like he was in a position where he was asked to do a lot, and with the rest of the team really struggling around him outside of Bryce McGowan's and Juwan Gary. And yes, you're getting some from Connor Stejan, but wasn't consistent. Sam Hoiberg was taking 2-3 shots a game. You were looking for that offense. And I think Birke felt like he had to be the guy to provide it because, not really seeing a lot else coming off the bench. So I don't want to bash on him. We'll listen to Freddie Hoiberg talk about Burke Bear-Eucton jail being in a good spot. I'll put his banner. We'll throw it to break, but here's that audio for you. Fred Hoiberg on Burke.
Yeah, he's been good. He's dealing with a little nagging injury right now. He will not play tomorrow in the scrimmage, but overall, I'd say BK has had an unbelievable summer, and I think a big part of it, he came in a lot better shape than he did a year ago. He had national team commitments last year, and then he took a little bit of an extended time off coming in, and that put him behind a little bit at the beginning. When BK was in great shape last year, that's when we played our best basketball. So, I've been really impressed with the shape that he came in. He stayed lean throughout the summer, and these are a critical couple weeks. He's going to stay in town. He's not going home this year like he did a year ago, and I really think that's going to help him.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Make bill paying a breeze with Text to Pay. LES texts you 1 week before your bill's due date. Just reply to the text to pay. It's that easy. Log into your account at les.com to sign up today.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
When opportunity knocks, you don't want to miss the call. Hamilton Business Technologies makes communication easy and efficient using customized technology, all while putting people first. Whether you're working from the office, at home, or on the go, Hamilton Business Technologies equips your business with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop. Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
MHC isn't new, just a new name. Mo's Moving is now Mo's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can also handle your commercial moves as well. There's never fees on trucks, stairs, elevators, long carry, and last-minute booking, and no trip or fuel charges. Also no upcharge on weekends, and they do offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. Got Tristan Gomes to my left. Final segment, at least between me and Tristan Gomes for tonight on this Monday, August 4th. We still got Royals playing the Red Sox on the brick and mortar. But if you guys are listening, that means you found the stream or at least the Ticket app. And you can continue to listen throughout the rest of the night on both of those options until the Royals game is over. Real quick, we're going to keep talking Husker hoops here. And since we mentioned a lot, first thing I want to do here is Leo Curtis. He did talk about him. Let me pull it up if I can read here. I'm having a really tough time. Tristan, I'll just ask you while I could read this. Where for Nebraska to get a 7-footer in there, I shouldn't ask that. How much of a problem has the center position been for Nebraska? Because Rink Mass, Derrick Henry felt like we finally nailed it with two. Mm-hmm. A lot of years after, this year in particular didn't go great. And years prior didn't go well. How doomed is your season if you don't figure out that center position in the Big Ten in particular?
I don't want to say it's doomed, but you can see it, really take a toll from an offensive perspective and a defensive. I think it's tough when we've seen it plenty of times where, Zach Edey for Purdue, teams would put everything into their game plan to stop him. They weren't able to stop him. So offensively, they were able to do what they want, and it takes the pressure off the guards of having to make everything happen. Mm-hmm. But then defensively, it's just tough when you don't have a center that can match up against a guy. I feel like in the past few years, Nebraska has, been pretty comparable when it comes to the guards. We had Bryce Williams, who was able to guard guys, Juwan Gary, who was able to play good defense, Sam Hoiberg. Mm-hmm. So we had guys that could handle the guards of other teams, but then once they got the ball into the paint, Nebraska kind of struggled there. So it makes a huge impact, one on offense, having another scorer, but then also on defense, being able to stop other teams from using that as a weapon. Yeah, and just like the rebounding battle, it's for too many years where we're just losing in that one. And it's like, if you're playing Burke and you got Josiah Alec out there, like in no world should those two guys being outboarded. I'm going to by 1-2. Sometimes it's just the game flow. I mean, there are some games where it's like, we're letting the team who, they got some size, but they got a +10 differential on rebounds and we lost by 2. Well, you're just giving those guys a lot of extra opportunities with those second chance points as well. With that being said, we do got the audio. Here is reintegrating Leo Curtis again, all the way out there from Iceland. Here's Fred Hoiberg on Leo Curtis.
Been careful with Leo. Just he played a lot of games in a short amount of time with his national team. So we've been understanding the time zone that he had to travel through to get back here, and we didn't do anything live with him last week. Today was really his first day back, where he actually did some live work, and then he'll do some. Not all. He and Rink will actually split a lot of the reps tomorrow in the scrimmage. But, we just want to make sure that we go into the fall healthy with Leo. And, again, I talked about Leo's skill, but his IQ is off the charts. And, he's still got to work on his body, as all freshmen do, and mature a little bit in that area. But he does a lot of really good things out there on the floor on both ends. He just moves so well for a young kid that's 7'1", and he's got a really bright future ahead of him.
There you have it. And apologies, I think I'm pronouncing it Leo Curtis. It's spelled E-L-L-E-O, but Leo Curtis, again, 7'1", Iceland. Thing I liked about that quote is, like, you see where Fred Hoiberg's mind's going. He's like, Rink Mass 2.0.
Yeah.
But you hear him talking about, like, his IQ. I'm going to split reps, him and Rink Mass and practices. Like, he's building him into that role already. And again, you guys can go watch the tape. I haven't seen so much on the playmaking end. I'm curious if that's the high IQ stuff that Hoiberg's talking about there. But again, if you can get that guy in there, and if he does plug into what you think is that Rink Mass mold, it sounds like Fred Hoiberg isn't planning to change his philosophy, but he really does like the run the offense through that power 4, even at that 5 position if you got one. Because even with Derrick Henry, it wasn't running as much as the offense through him, but starting a lot of the offense with him, where he was going to catch it at the high center and at the very worst or very least drive down, drop a shoulder, go into you. And if it collapses, then he'll kick it out. But just a lot of that to initiate the offense and just put some pressure on the rim and see if you can open up something on the outside. What's your expectations for Leo Curtis? Just year one, like, again, he's coming from Iceland. He is a freshman. Do you expect we see some of him? Do you think it takes a little bit more time? Again, unique player.
Yeah, definitely unique player. I think with him, there isn't really any reason for him not to, get some opportunities to see how he does out there. And if you have a 1 foot guy that can, see the whole court, be a facilitator as well, so you get the ball to him in the high post, and he has the ability to dish it out to those great shooters. And then also, if he has that high basketball IQ, we can trust him with the ball as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to see him, get mixed in there a little bit and see how he does. Even as a freshman, we see this all the time. Cooper Flagg was a freshman. Zion Williamson was a freshman. These are great athletes that can, if you give them the opportunities to just fit into the college basketball frame, then they'll figure it out. They'll learn. So I think the best way with Leo is just to let him use his talent, use his size, and just slowly learn what college basketball is like.
Yeah, well, luckily he's got 1 year Rink Mass. So like that seems like it's going to be the guy that he's going to be practicing with a lot. I think that's the philosophy that Hoiberg's trying to get him into. And Rink Mass has got 1 year left. So I think way too loud on the music there. I think what we'll see there most likely is Rink Mass will be doing a lot of it. Obviously, like, he's going to be the guy. And then we might see some situations, especially if Nebraska has a lead, depending on what they want to do with that freshman year of him. If they want to roll him out there, I can see him end of the game situations and have half situations where he's can play decent enough defense at that length. Like, if he can just be around the rim, and if Rink Mass is even in foul trouble or Burke Bear Uked in jail, I think he can have some added value right away into that season, but more matchup wise, not so much of we need you to grab, 8 rebounds, 7 rebounds a night for us. With that being said, that's me and Tristan. Talked a lot of Husker basketball. We'll switch it back tomorrow to more college football talk, NFL talk. But that's going to do it for me and him. Up next, I got Rudy. Join me for another hour. So don't go anywhere. More here on Ticket Weeknights.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Make bill paying a breeze with Text to Pay. LES texts you 1 week before your bill's due date. Just reply to the text to pay. It's that easy. Log into your account at les.com to sign up